Let me finish tonight with how the Mueller investigation could end. Given the toughness Bob Mueller is showing, it looks like he would have no hesitation indicting anyone he finds guilty in his path. Look at his treatment of Michael Flynn, Paul Manafort, and all the rest. If you did the crime, you're going to do the time. That's unless you're ready to turn state's evidence against the kingpin, Donald Trump. Which brings us to a pair of Mueller's subjects who lack that option, Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump. The president's children stand right in the line of Mueller's investigative progress. They stand as the next dominoes to fall. But therein lies the problem. Where earlier Mueller's subjects have given Trump up, these two lack the option to do that. They can hardly testify against their father, which brings the country to the reckoning. If the prosecutor will not be stopped and the kids will not fall to him, we see the president's adult children heading to prison. But what if the prosecutor were to offer the president an alternative? What if he were to say he would let the children walk if the old man does the same? They get to go scot-free if he's willing to take the Agnew way out. That would mean giving up the presidency in exchange for acquittals all around, not just for himself, but for all his kids. You say this won't happen? Then what will? Will the Trump kids avoid indictments? Will they turn state's evidence? Will Trump allow them to be convicted and sentenced? Could he get away with pardoning them when they have evidence to bring against him? No. The reckoning in the American saga, this one, may come down to the solution faced by prosecutors and Richard Nixon's twice-chosen vice president. Leverage the office while you still have it. The courts would not have to resolve whether a president can be indicted while in office. History has already decided that a Veep can. No one questions that a presidential son or daughter could. So let's watch the probable events of the coming weeks bring all this to a breaking point. It is going to be historic. And that's Hardball for now. Thanks for being with us. All In with Chris Hayes starts right now.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.